Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from two important newspapers. The first being the Hindu, and the other is Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination perspective will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 13th of July. The first news is Center has no new data on child labor. This is a concern that was raised. Second, India-Brazil navies may collaborate soon. Third, Sri Lanka MPs to elect the new president. We have seen the turmoil and the economic crisis ongoing in Sri Lanka. Fourth, create more job, revamp employment policy. So this is the editorial. I'll be discussing two editorial today. The other editorial is from the Indian Express, which is the mind, the term of the trade. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before that, if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. So starting with the first news of the day, that is Center has no new data on the child labor, something important for General Studies paper 2 under the topic Welfare Schemes for the Vulnerable Section of the Population by the Center and the States Government. So recently, the Labour Ministry has informed the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Labour that since the merger of National Child Labour Project with the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan 2016, the ministry has no record with regards to the child labor, which is astonishing and even concerning for a country like India. So the currently available data has taken a note of the census, like the previous census, that is 2011 की जो census है, which says that country has more than 1 million of child laborers, right? And searching for the proper data on the child labor, the standing committee has reached out to the 14 union ministries, but still they have not get any of the details with regard to this, right? Now, reasons behind the inadequate data, की अगर बात करें, the center does not have any data on the child labor in the country, and the main reason is that the particular ministries are drying up with the budget provisions, which is under the National Child Labor Project, which has been monitored with the issues with the past 3 decades. तो कुछ budgetary issues के वजह से भी सर्वेज में शायद पॉइंट आउट की गई है, खास करके जो पार्लियामेंट्री स्टैंडिंग कमेटी उनकी तरफ से. Last year, the panel has pulled up center for the lack of data on the migrant worker also. Now, unavailability of data की बात की गई है. Basically, the ministries and the Department of Central Government, including the Home Ministry, Women and Child Development Ministry, and several state government was also found that they do not have adequate data with regards to the child labor. Almost all the ministries have told the Parliamentary Standing Committee that they do not have any data, any current data with regards to the child labor after बेसिकली सेंसस के बाद जो इंपॉर्टेंट फाइंडिंग्स थे, हर बार सबमिशंस करनी होती है पार्लियामेंट्री स्टैंडिंग कमेटी को, वो नहीं की गई है मिनिस्ट्रीज की तरफ से. Now, it is for the first time that the parliamentary panel is engaged in the detailed examination of the national policy on the child labor. So you can expect a mains question with regards to national policy and child labor. What is the government stand and what are the concerns that has been highlighted, right? तो इस तरह के सवाल आपसे पूछे जा सकते हैं. Recently, the government of Delhi, Rajasthan, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Assam, Jharkhand, and Tamil Nadu will brief the panel about the situation of their states. So these states are still not given the adequate data. अभी इनके तरफ से कुछ data release नहीं की गई है. The Parliament Standing Committee would be looking forward with states information. Now, according to UNICEF, कुछ findings जो UNICEF ने की है, it says that child labor has taken a toll of 160 million, first increase in the 2 decades, and International Labour Organization and UNICEF warned that 9 million additional children are at the risk because of the COVID-19 pandemic aftermath impact, right? So this is how the worst situation is arising in terms of the child labor, and every government, not only for India, all other countries need to take a caution with regards to the child labor. Now कुछ और findings है यूनिसेफ की तरफ से that is again important specifically for the mains examination. Make sure you take a note of this, or even you can take the screenshot. So the agriculture sector account for 70% of children in the child labor, that is 112 million, followed by 20% in services and 10% in industries. Now nearly 28% of children aged between 5 to 11 are 37, basically they are 35% of children, and aged between 12 to 14 are the children who are basically drop out from the school. Now child labor is more prevalent among the boys as compared to girls. When household chores performed at least 21 hours per week are taken into account, the gender gap is their low income times of the child laborers. The prevalence of child labor in rural area, this is 14%, in close 3 times, which is like compared to the urban areas. Urban areas में number 5% है, और rural area की बात करें, this is 14%, close to 3 times the number. Now, other news, that is India-Brazil navies may collaborate soon, something important for General Studies Paper 2, bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India's and affecting India's interest. So according to the Indian Navy, the navies of India and Brazil will operate the French Scorpene class submarine that are exploring the option for the collaboration towards maintenance of electric diesel attack submarine. So this is how India is looking forward to augment its entire capacity for the submarines. Recently, the Brazilian Navy delegations were there at the Western Naval Command in Mumbai, where they issued the extensive discussion, and both countries are looking forward for the collaboration in maintenance of diesel electric attack submarines. कॉमन इंटरेस्ट की अगर बात करें दोनों कंट्रीज के बीच में बिटवीन इंडिया एंड ब्राजील, द डेलीगेशन मीट सीनियर ऑफिसर्स फ्रॉम इंडियन नेवी to discuss the various issues of common interest, which include defense and submarine technology, Make in India initiative, which India has already pitched for, and definitely India is looking forward for more Indianizations of the defense manufacturing. Third is initiative towards professional cooperations between the Navy. Another is outlook of Indian Navy towards the shared maritime interest with like-minded navies and countries which India favored, and even vice versa, which other countries favor. So both countries come together for the maintenance of Scorpene submarines. Now Scorpene submarine in India में बात करें, India has inducted four out of 6 submarines that was contracted from France, being manufactured locally with the assistance of Naval Group. और जो 5 submarine है, that is in the advanced stage of sea trial, while the last one has recently launched into water, that is expected to join Navy by the middle of this year, right? So this is something that will be giving a state-of-art submarine technology to the Indian Navy. Now India will release SSN, that is a part of Russia Progress, and indigenous built SSN is already operated under nuclear ballistic submarines. Now Brazilian Navy की अगर बात करें, they are also operating with the 4 Scorpene class submarine that is currently in the progress of building for the nuclear attack submarines with assistance from France. और ब्राज़ील ने पहले भी बताया that they have entered into negotiation with International Atomic Energy Agency over safeguard and issues of nuclear fuel for the submarine programs. Other news, that is Sri Lanka MPs to elect new president. We have seen the turmoil and crisis ongoing in Sri Lanka. This is important for General Studies Paper 2 under the topic India and its neighborhood relations. So according to Sri Lanka Speaker, officially they have announced that Sri Lankan Parliament will elect the new president to succeed the current president on July 20, 2022. The condition in Sri Lanka is worst. People are witnessing high inflation and there are many challenges that there's there, right? Almost the inflation rate at present in Sri Lanka is 54%. Now the decision was taken during the all-party meeting, and unanimously they have decided that the election has to be there. The current president, that is Mr. Rajapaksa, is yet to resign formally, and however, he has informed the speaker that he will quit. That is on 30. Today itself it is expected. Let's see. You must be getting the news. By the end of the day, we can conclude that. Now, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka has also said that he will step down after the new government is formed. So the Prime Minister is not stepping now, he is waiting for the new government to be formed. Now, the Parliament bailout will held out on July 20 to elect the new president. Now, Sri Lanka के constitutions को अगर देखें, how they're moving in terms of this turmoil and crisis. So, under the Sri Lankan constitution, if both president and prime minister resign, speaker will serve as an acting president for maximum of 30 days. This is the point to be noted. Now, the parliament will elect the new president within 30 days from its member who will hold the office for the remaining 2 years from the current president term. जितनी ड्यूरेशंस बची हुई हैं वर्तमान में जो प्रेसिडेंट थे उसी ड्यूरेशंस को पूरी की जाएगी. Once that duration is completed, again the new election process will be there, right? So this is how the things will move in terms of institutionalizing and even for establishing the complete setup of the government in Sri Lanka. Now, economic crisis की अगर बात करें, Sri Lanka is a country of 22 million people and is under grip of unprecedented economic turmoil and worst economic crisis in 7 decades. After independence, this is the worst economic crisis for Sri Lanka, right? जहाँ पे food नहीं है, medicines नहीं है, fuel नहीं है, and even all essential items are not accessible to the people. The country with acute foreign currency crisis has resulted in the foreign debt that has announced in April, spending nearly 7 billion foreign debt repayment, due to which the country was even see that 25 million due to throughout the 2026. So this is the worst situation, worst planning that was there by the previous government. And Sri Lanka total debt stand up to $51 billion, and mostly this is from China. Now you must have seen this picture. This is the presidential state of Sri Lanka where the people have gathered and they are protesting. They are forecasting their protest and their grievances and their grief. Basically, just तरह से पूरी तरह से आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे they have entered into the private pool of the president. So people are actually in the stage of gratification. इस तरह से event करने से people actually they are not getting anything, but they are psychologically gratified with the actions, right? Now, IMF bailout की अगर बात करें, the political deadlock is further fueled by the economic crisis since the absence of alternative unity government that has threatened the hope of for the bailout package that they're expected to get from the International Monetary Fund. But अभी bailout package को भी pause कर दी गई है because there's no government and there's no negotiation. For IMF bailout, there are certain conditions that has to be made, then only the bailout can be there, right? वहाँ पे government को IMF के guidelines के accordingly अपनी government को पूरी तरह से चलानी पड़ेगी, and that will call for the economic recovery also. So the government must submit a plan for the debt sustainability to the IMF in August before reaching an agreement. In the meantime, the country is relying the aid from its neighbor, that is India and China. China is already supporting, and India has given almost 5 to 7 times bailout package, line of credit, बहुत सारी facilities और food, medicines और vaccines भी इंडिया ने provide की. Whether China will talk with Sri Lanka about the possibility of getting the loans, the Chinese foreign ministries has officially not indicated anything in this particular regard. Now, moving to the editorial, this is the first editorial for the day, that is create more job, revamp employment policies. Something important for General Studies paper 2 under the topic government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from it, design and implementations. So under this editorial, I'll be giving you the subtopics of 6 important subjects. This is how I bifurcated the entire editorial. But the entire editorial focuses upon the unemployment issues and government stand. So we'll be discussing in subtopic like vacancies are much higher, issues of the quality employment, need for more jobs, focus on the basic needs, urban employment and the way forward. So recently the central government has announced its plan to create almost 10 lakh jobs in the next 18 months. This was announced by the Prime Minister, and he has categorically asked all the ministries to expedite the process of recruitment, right? Over 40 lakh sanctioned posts and almost close to 22% of the post is now vacant with the government, and this has to be filled within 18 months. But the point here is highlighted that how the government was actually functioning. मैं आपको उसके बारे में आगे बताऊंगा. Now, through the announcement has been made, it is a historic step in the interest of youth, and also raising the new hope and confidence among the youth. Now, vacancies की अगर बात करें, vacancies are much higher. This is an finding from the expert. So it says that according to the Ministry of Personal Grievances and Pension, which a statement was given by the minister to the Rajya Sabha, they said there are almost 8.72 lakh positions that are vacant under the various department of central government. Now, if the position in the public bank, defense forces, हेल्थ सेक्टर, स्कूल्स की बात कर लें, सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटीज़ की बात कर लें, तो ये टोटल वैकेंसी जो है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा हो जाएंगी एंड दिस वुड बी क्लोज टू 30 लाख वैकेंसीज स्टिल वैकेंट. ना ये नंबर्स अभी भी स्टेट में जो वैकेंसीज खाली पड़ी हैं उनको काउंट करके नहीं बताई गई है. सो इफ द स्टेट वैकेंसीज इज अगेन एडेड इट विल बी क्लोज टू 35 or 40 lakh vacancies, right? Now, the big question is how the government has not made any complaints about the shortage in the recent year, how the government was functioning. Definitely, if the manpower shortage there, that is impacting the work, and even the workload for the other people is high. So it was a sudden announcement. Why the government has come up with such announcement? Government has concentrated about actual employment, giving the एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी टू यूथ, या फिर कोई दूसरी इंटेंशन है गवर्नमेंट की, या फिर बहुत स्टेट्स में इलेक्शंस हैं, या किसी और विल के साथ गवर्नमेंट इस तरह के काम को करी. द एक्सपर्ट आर ऑफ द ओपिनियन दैट द प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट इज टारगेटिंग द अपकमिंग लोकसभा इलेक्शन, राइट? सो दिस इज समथिंग अ स्टैंड दैट इज बीइंग टेकन प्लेस. वी हैव टू सी इन ड्यू कोर्स ऑफ टाइम गवर्नमेंट ने जो प्रॉमिस की है एक्चुअली 18 मंथ्स पर रिक्रूटमेंट, वो होती भी है या नहीं. नाउ, इशू ऑफ क्वालिटी employment is a big issue. The share of contract worker in total government employment has been increasing rapidly in the past recent year. यहाँ पे 11.11 लाख से बढ़ करके ये 13.25 लाख तक चली गई और gradually it will increase to 24.31 lakh, right? इन एडिशनली अगर ऑनरी वर्क की बात करें, जो कि आंगनवाड़ी वर्कर्स करती हैं, एक्रेडिटेड सोशल हेल्थ एक्टिविस्ट जो आशा वर्कर हैं, इन लोगों को खास करके जो अर्नर्स हैं यहाँ पे जो एम्प्लॉयड हैं, उनकी सैलरी काफ़ी कम है, बट दे आर डूइंग द डिसेंट वर्क. बट एज पर द ILO उनके जो पैकेजेस हैं, जो मिनिमम पैकेजेस उनको मिलनी चाहिए, सोशल सिक्योरिटी जो मिलनी चाहिए, वो काफ़ी कम है. इवन द आशा वर्कर हैज़ रिसेंटली बिन अवॉर्डेड, तो उन्होंने कहा कि उनकी जो सैलरीज है वो और बढ़ानी चाहिए और उनको सोशल बेनिफिट्स भी मिलने चाहिए. The government must ensure that the employment generated under its plan will be the part of the standard quality. And even there has been assurance from the government that they would be looking into these issues as well. But again, we have to wait and watch how things will proceed. Now, need for more jobs. Basically, the total labor force in the country is 437.2 million. This is the data from April 2022. And as per the labor force participation, 42.13, that is a part of unemployment rate that we are witnessing, that youth amount to 20% at present, right? Now, the generation of mere 10 lakh job in the next 18 months, it's too little. As I've told you, अगर आप और भी वैकेंसीज को जितने सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, हॉस्पिटल हैं और भी सारे डिपार्टमेंट को इंक्लूड करते हैं, दिस विल बी क्लोज टू 30 lakhs, एक्सक्लूडिंग द वैकेंसीज फ्रॉम द बेसिकली जितनी भी स्टेट में जो वैकेंसीज हैं उनको हटा कर. The schemes for the government will hardly provide any relief to the youth in the countries, and it will have much more impact at the present unemployment problem. The important point to note here is that the performance in the private sector that creating employment opportunities has been dismal, and they have not substantially contributed in terms of generating the unemployment. तो पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप या फिर जो प्राइवेट कोलैबोरेशंस हैं उनको भी आगे आने की ज़रूरत है ताकि वो ज़्यादा लोगों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट कर सकें. Now, focus on basic needs. To start with, the government will have to create more employment within the government. ज़रूरत है जितनी भी गवर्नमेंट में डिपार्टमेंटल वैकेंसीज हैं उनको फुलफिल की जाए. दिस विल डेफिनेटली कॉल फॉर अ पॉजिटिव सेंटिमेंट्स टूवर्ड्स द अनएम्प्लॉयड यूथ. And even the government will have to take responsibility for meeting these basic needs without depending on privatization, at least for the bottom 40% of the populations. Now, another major task will be reorient to the industrialization policy to focus on labor intensive sector and promote MSME, जो कि micro, small and medium enterprises हैं, informal productivity by ensuring a better technology and higher productivity. So definitely these sectors are substantially contributing in economy and even employing a lot more populations. तो इन sectors पे भी revamp करने की ज़रूरत है. Now, urban unemployment की अगर बात करें, urban employment has been badly hurt by pandemic, and the program include the basic urban services where the youth would getting a special training जहाँ पे वो मेन स्ट्रीम इकोनॉमी के साथ जुड़ सके उस ट्रेनिंग के बाद, उस स्किलिंग के बाद, अपस्किलिंग के बाद. The day center set up for the childcare to enable women to get their work basically and ensure the childcare also. Infrastructure gap to be filled under the construction work to facilitate the quality urban life. Now, how the way forward can be concluded for this? Was a long editorial. The discussion was important to get you into in depth of that. तो बात करें अगर वे फॉरवर्ड की तो केयरफुली डिज़ाइन करने की ज़रूरत है अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट को जो कि गारंटी करेगी ऐसे प्रोग्राम को जहाँ पे मोस्ट डिजराइबल विल गेट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू गेट द एम्प्लॉयमेंट डन. इवन अर्बन और रूरल दोनों में जिस तरह से जो पॉपुलेशन खास करके अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट की बढ़ रही है उसे कैटर करने की ज़रूरत है. Now, if the gestures feels vacant post in the government is a part of the mission employment, it will be followed by a radical changes in the government employment policies. So still, after the announcement, we have not seen any large recruitment advertisement so far. We have to wait. Definitely, it called for a policy change. तो कुछ समय में अगर गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज लेकर के आती हैं लंबे और कुछ ऐसे वैकेंसीज जहाँ पे ज़्यादा सीट्स होंगे, that will again help the people who is unemployed to get the job. Now, moving to the other editorial, mind the term of trade, something important for general studies paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India's and affecting India's interest. So the entire editorial concerned about the free trade agreement and the trade, and I'll be simplifying this editorial under 5 important subheads, that is potential trade sectors, India's export to European Union, addressing the concern, offset clauses and conclusion. Now, लेटेस्ट में एग्रीमेंट की है इंडिया ने यूएई के साथ जहाँ पे कंप्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप की गई एंड दिस इज अ गुड एग्जांपल फॉर बोथ कंट्रीज इन टर्म्स ऑफ द ट्रेड रिलेशंस. एंड इन द रीसेंट मंथ इंडिया हैज आल्सो साइंड द ट्रेड विद द एफटीए और द ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट विद ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड यूएई. In the last week of June, India began the similar talk with the European Union also. Now, potential trade sectors की अगर बात करें, India has been talked with Australia, EU and United Arab Emirates that could have bearing on the tariff related matters in terms of agriculture and industries. तो कुछ successful sectors हैं जिन पे agreement की गई है, free trade agreement और comprehensive trade agreement, which include textile, pharmaceuticals. Leather could benefit with these deliberations, which could also be keenly watched by the representative from services, which include the renewable energy sector. तो ये कुछ 3 इंपॉर्टेंट सेक्टर्स आप ले सकते हैं, टेक्सटाइल, फार्मास्यूटिकल एंड एनर्जी सेक्टर्स. नाउ इंडियाज एक्सपोर्ट टू ईयू की अगर बात करें, इंडिया एक्सपोर्ट टू ईयू कंट्रीज हैज ग्रोन द फास्टर पेस कंपेयर टू अदर एक्सपोर्ट एंड नीदरलैंड, जर्मनी, बेल्जियम, इटली, फ्रांस हैज इमर्ज एज अ की मार्केट फॉर इंडियन प्रोडक्ट्स. So if you're writing in mains paper, make sure you highlight this point. Now, as a successful free trade agreement, India and EU could help to expand the footfall in the market, the Poland, Portugal, Greece, Czech Republic, and Romania. So, where the countries export registered the double-digit annual growth in the last decade. Now, addressing some of the concern, there are some concern with regards to trade, FTA, and comprehensive economic partnership. So, before entering into any trade agreement, India need to take care of few key concerns. That is, it has been observed that India is an importer, right? और इसमें देखा गया जो प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रेड होती है, जो टेरिफ्स होती है खास करके, that has grown as a result of trade agreements and are significantly lowered than the rate change from the countries given to the most favored nation. जो MNF की स्टेटस है, स्टेटस बाय इंडिया, उसके जो सिग्निफिकेंटली बेनिफिट्स होने चाहिए वो नहीं मिल पा रहे इंडिया को. बिफोर एंटरिंग इनटू द ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट, there should be and therefore be taken ensure that domestic industries जो हैं that is not made to compete on the unequal terms with the partner countries. So India should also be given the most favored nation status in the trading countries where India is actually importing और उसके benefits vice versa India और उस countries दोनों को होने चाहिए. Now, India and UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement sets a good example. आप यहाँ पे इस example को ले सकते हैं जहाँ पे एक strong rule of origin रखा गया है. Rule of origin have been a bone of contention between both India's trade and agreement, right? And in 2022, the country has notified the custom, that is administration of rule on origin under the trade agreement, which is also known as CATOR, which requires the basic level of due diligence from the importers, and it will be interesting to see how this rule work out for the free trade agreement. That is how for other trade, but FTA में भी इसको लागू करने की जरूरत है. Now, offset clauses की अगर बात करें, the offset clauses, the exporter is obliged to undertake the activities that is directly benefiting the importing countries, and this should also build a trade agreement, especially in technology intensive sector. तो ये कुछ offset clauses हैं countries के बीच में जहाँ trade हो रही है, and an emergency action plan could be another useful ingredient for the trade agreements. Now, conclusion की अगर बात करें, India should negotiate for the party between the service and merchandise. India trade in services is low, and overall score in the OECD trade service restriction index exceeds the world average. Now, there is also a significant room of expansion in the trade in the banking and financial industries. A well-crafted trade structure की ज़रूरत है, where India could enhance its share in the global trade and help attain the government largest, or can say the target marketing countries, to become a 5 trillion economy. So India को basically what need to be done in this context, we need to focus on the trade value, where already target was set by the government of India to become a 5 trillion economy. उस target को चेज करने के लिए एक enhanced proper structures की जरूरत पड़ेगी जो कि well crafted हो और trade agreements में इसकी पूरी contribution हो global trades के साथ. So this is how the conclusion can be proceeded. Moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is B. Today's MCQ of the day, that consider the following statement with regards to the corruption perception index. CPI is being released by the Corruption Eradication Commission. India's rank has slipped to 86 among 180 countries in the CPI. So do check it out for the correct option. The second question, that is tree status has been given to which of the following cities: Indore, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and New Delhi. So do check it out for the correct options. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.